So round two, Gbenga, I'm starting with you. And we want to talk about communal responsibility and our well-being. And this is one aspect that I love a lot because it's the motto of the Institute, and that is Ubuntu. As Africans, we are known for the Ubuntu philosophy, where we believe in interconnectedness. And as such, we value community, we value communal responsibility and shared compassion. This was one way our ancestors fostered strong family and community bonds and well-being. So my question to you is, what strategies can be deployed to educate and share our unique ethnic rituals and traditions in a culturally sensitive and respectful manner, avoiding cultural appropriation and misrepresentation in a multicultural workforce? Wow. So is that one? There are layers, Abi.
As doctorate level question. So, I mean, thanks again, Praise, for bringing me. I have a unique attraction to this community. I don't do anything around family life, coaching, or counseling, but you occupy a sensitive place in society, and I think everyone deserves a round of applause. Yeah, please go ahead, clap for yourselves. My cry to this community remains the same. It remains the same. People you see as patients and clients and family members, they are to me employees, right? The problems you are not fixing in homes, they bring it to my workplaces. What you see as let me flip the coin. What I see as, and these days when I counsel around, permit me to use some HR terms, PIP, performance improvement programs and things like that, where people are I see people whom I hired 6 months ago. I went all the way to hire the person because I know he or she can perform, and comes to my organization, and in 3 months' time, that person is yelling and crying and shouting on people. When I see emotional outburst at work, I was telling one of my friends, during the short break, what I see sometimes, or what I'm looking for is he or she married? Are there issues at home? And more often than not, that's the issue. But you see, corporate Nigeria, and to an extent, the workplace globally, we find it difficult to deal with such issues. In the last 5-7 years, there has been a growth of what we will call employee support systems. And there's been growth on mental wellness issues. Again, I've been telling everyone that cares to listen. We have overemphasized that issue so much that people that are actually okay are saying they are not okay. Because we have reprogrammed, they've heard it too many times. For God's sake, when did some of us pick the word imposter syndrome? In fact, if you check, you started thinking you have imposter syndrome because you heard you have imposter syndrome. For the life of me, you may not have it. What's my point? Issues of wellness, performance, culture, diversity of, in fact, it's a requirement today in the workplace that you can work and survive in a very diverse work environment. It's a requirement, and we track such things. I'm glad to announce to us, for instance, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, now referred to as NGX, now tracks and reports percentage of women on the boards of listed companies, just to further really encourage people who are encouraging the issue of gender balance and all of that in the workplace. But from a recent research that we've been doing in Nigeria, these are the 4 elements that make up for culture. And it will help some of us here. One is ethnicity. It's big for us in Nigeria. You can't talk about diversity or culture in the workplace and not look at the element of ethnicity. 2, the biggest, is religion. It's big, it's unspoken, and in some places it's very loud. I see you as a Muslim, as a tribalist, or a Christian. In fact, our religions tell us to project it almost to the disregard of the other person's religion and all of that, I personally think is wrong. Number 3 is age. That's a third sensitive element of culture, what makes for culture, or some will call diversity in the workplace. The fourth one though, is the biggest to track, and that is your worldview, how open-minded you are. Because you see, you can be born in Castina, grew up in Ajegunle, and you can be in New York tomorrow and you are fine. And it can be the reverse. Because what we have right now in corporate Nigeria is a situation where you can be part of a 5-man team, and your leader is 5 hours behind you or 6 hours in front of you. I'll tell us a simple story, just to really expand our thoughts. I don't have the right answer, but I'll just expand our thoughts. I had a story of someone who left Nigeria, jackpot, and went to work somewhere else. 1 year afterwards, a former colleague came on to work with him as well. They left the office, were going down a street, and a lady walked up to both of them and was coming at the guy who just came back, who just came to that country. And the guy, how can you, and I mean, professional alert, as it were, let me say it as it is, was coming at this guy who just came. And the guy was going to start saying stuff that he shouldn't have said. It was the other colleague who quickly seized the occasion and took over and just told the young lady, oh, thanks a lot, but it's one of those days we're actually very tired. If we take you on now, we'll actually just waste your time. But this is my card. Can I have yours? We'll meet some other time. And walked away and told the guy, uncle, prostitution is legal in this country. I was expecting that reaction. Prostitution is legal in this country. If you had taken that conversation further, you have been the one that is wrong. And I went there intentionally, just to test how sensitive some of us are and to issues like that. And more people are working in teams where Steve is Eve and Eve is Steve. And we are struggling with it. Some of us are working in environments where it's first names. But you see, I grew up with a dad who, they're not born me well, and things like that. And our kids are going to schools where, and by the way, they're having friends who have now jackpot, who are still talking regularly and are exposed to these cultures and these nuances. And so there's a lot going on in the minds of the average employee around the subject of diversity and all of that. The biggest, like I say, is that quotient of openness of mind and what's your worldview? How un-Nigerian are you with your thoughts? Even when you're in Nigeria and you grew up in Gbenga, and you are now in a meeting on Body Lawn, are you going to look at all of them as thieves and people who don't deserve to be in the country and things like that? Those are the issues that we are seeing, and I'm asking practitioners here. Yes, individuals will come to you for counseling, but can we begin to enter corporate Nigeria and talk about sexual orientation? No, corporate Nigeria will not come to you. Excuse me, we will not come to you. We need you to come to us. We need you to change your messaging. We need you to, if there's any employee support, anyone that is doing anything on retainer here for organizations, if you check, they are mostly tilted towards the mental side of things. But that guy has sexual issues, not mental issues. You are not going to be able to treat that person. And you are perhaps not bringing someone else that is a sex therapist to help that person. Those are the gaps that I am seeing. And please, I'm repeating it. We are your customers. Walk up to HR issues, HR people, walk up to bank MDs, entrepreneurs that are dealing with these issues on a daily basis. Today, when issues of sexual harassment is brought to my attention, I don't fly to begin to give the person a query or some memo or whatever it is. I'm wondering what's going on in this guy's house. How come he's harassing a young... Because you hear some cases, and you either think this person is lunatic or there's a deeper issue here, because he's probably a 55-year-old trying to harass a 21-year-old. That should be his or her daughter. Those are the issues. Like I said, I don't have the answers. The workplace is increasingly diverse in culture. It will not stop. And we are seeing a wave come around soon. I'm sorry for taking my time. I'm seeing a wave coming around. We've had a wave of people going to London, Canada, US, and Australia. There's a second wave of us now even traveling within the African continent. Africa, for me, has always been a country, not a continent. And I'll explain. Look at the value of the stock exchanges all over Africa. Put it all together, it's less than the value of Apple as a country, as a company. So we are in true value a country, not a continent. The Africa Free Trade Zone is taking its roots. We now have 6, 7 countries that their central banks have been linked together. So you have more people going to Angola, going to Kenya, going to Uganda to work. So even within the African continent, as we begin to mix our cultures, how ready are we to accept, respect, and still walk across those boundaries without raising red flags? That's my plea to this community.
Knowing that the family is the production center of the society, who agrees with me that as a country, we are overdue for a Ministry of Family Affairs? If you agree. Right? Because one of the things that can help this is to champion policies that would help to bridge this gap and create this interconnection. You know, for example, we're seeing registrars, especially in Lagos State, now mandating that people who want to get married will take a more structured premarital counseling, which curriculum we had a hand in developing. So imagine if there is a policy that organizations are mandated to have a family life unit. Like you said, I know that it is integrated within mental health, but you will agree with me that if someone is having, or maybe you have experienced such, someone is having a fundamental family issue, with the assisted program that provides mental health, it doesn't address the issues.
No, it doesn't.
So that means that we need to expand it to include family life. But one thing I'm taking away from you, which I think my colleagues are also taking away, is that in taking the employee-assisted family programs, we need to craft our messaging in a way that the workforce understands it, right? So that we can help them to bridge the gap. When you were talking about, yeah.
Quick data in corporate Nigeria, and I'm really sorry about this, but these are very sensitive issues. Quick data. There is a lie out there that every highly successful executive in the business world is without a functional family. It's a lie, but it's out there and it's very strong. That's your fault. Ouch, I'm sorry. It's your fault. In fact, to young women that are copying to, I have spoken to a young female professional before who says, I am not aspiring to be a very highly placed female executive. I asked her why. She said, all the ones I've seen don't have homes. Why are you not coaching that woman that is highly placed? If she doesn't come to you for any sort of coaching or counseling, you don't see that person as a client. And they will not come to you because they don't see you. You are not projecting, you are not sending any message to them because you see them as highly successful and they are okay. But I am telling you that there are problems and there are gaps there.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I think we have a program for C-suite executives who are single and want to marry right. So we're already bringing out programs that addresses these people in corporate world, and I think more of it will come out.